questions we don't have the answer for. The human race seems to know a lot of stuff. From priests to professors, thinkers to theologians, many people throughout history have attempted to acquire and scrutinize knowledge with the aim of progressing our race and answering certain fundamental questions. But are there queries which science, philosophy, and religion have failed to solve? Is there a limit to what mankind can ever possibly know? Let's find out as we investigate questions we don't have the answer for. Number 4. Why does evil exist? From a religious perspective, the idea of evil people and evil acts makes sense. It offers devout individuals a force to resist, to fight against, and to educate the world into destroying. Every good yarn needs a villain, and religions are no exception. However, many things deemed evil by some are considered good by others, and this extends outside of religion too. Good and evil are subjective terms. No one person is entirely evil or entirely good. Serial killers are sometimes nice to puppies. Hardworking nurses might flip off an old lady in traffic. This is something we all know to be true, and yet still we persist with this outdated idea of good versus evil. Therefore, we could say that evil exists because we decide that it does. From a neuroscientific point of view, good and evil don't exist. Sure, some people have a compulsion to commit good or evil acts, but these are driven by chemical processes over which they have no control. There's currently a huge debate over whether humans are born with anything resembling free will at all. If not, then intentional good and evil are impossible. And if we are, it's likely our free will is limited, since it exists within a mind that can be manipulated. Number 3. What is reality? It doesn't matter if you're talking about society, politics, the physical world, or your sweet hot body. Your perception of the things you experience is entirely unique to you. If you were suddenly able to inhabit the mind of someone else, you'd see everything differently. And not because you've got a slightly wonky eye or something. Your idea of reality is only partially based on what you see, hear, smell, taste, and grope. The rest is generated by your brain, as it seeks to fill the gaps in your sensory perception. For example, humans are blind for a total of several hours each day, thanks to a number of processes which streamline the way you see things. We're also partially deaf for a large part of the day for similar reasons. This editing of reality takes place across your other senses too. So since everyone's brain is unique, each person will generate a reality that is individual to them. And then, of course, you've got various sensory experiences which humans cannot have without equipment. We can't hear above or below certain thresholds. We can't see electromagnetic waves. Each of our senses has a limit to its capabilities. Only with the help of technology have we been able to experience these things. So it makes you wonder what other parts of reality we've been missing out on this whole time. Number 2. Are we free? In our previous entry, we discussed the idea of reality not being as real as we think. And this ties into the simulation hypothesis we've discussed on this channel before. Science takes seriously the idea that our universe exists within a false reality. But the problem with this theory is that it should never, ever be provable. A reality complex enough to fool conscious beings wouldn't allow itself to be scrutinized and exposed. Therefore, mankind may never know if it is free or not. One day, our simulation will end, and that will be that. And if we do exist in a naturally occurring reality, we may still do so without free will. We discussed this earlier in relation to evil acts, but what about the less crazy activities regular folks fill their days with? Work, vacations, the gym, ice cream, erotic animal photography. Do humans actually want to do all this stuff, or are we following a pattern set by our predecessors? To a great extent, we humans are slaves to ourselves. We react according to our basic needs and instincts, and when those are fulfilled, we have more time to take care of our spiritual and soul-enriching needs. But are these actions also decided for us? The independent behavior of every human being is influenced by society, family, friends, and beyond. But what proportion of your daily activities constitute the things you genuinely want to do? Not what you need to do to survive. Not what you have to do because you've been told. How much do you do for you? Think about your own personal goals for a moment. Are they your goals or someone else's? How about your fears? Are they things you know to be scared of? Or were your fears taught? To answer the question we originally posed may seem like a tough ask considering all the factors we'd have to include. It may be impossible to live a life devoid of influence, but this doesn't mean that you are not free. If you want to avoid acting in a certain way but you cannot, you are not yet free. But if you are able to at least try to achieve this, then perhaps you are. Number 1. Are there questions which cannot be answered? Yep, Strange Mysteries is going full meta. We couldn't exactly lead with this entry since it renders all the others pointless. But are there any questions which cannot ever be answered, regardless of how far humanity advances? If we use our imagination, we can picture a future where the technology exists to answer any question. A highly developed understanding of the human brain would tell us how evil thoughts and free will are developed, and it may even allow us to share our experience of each other's realities. New technologies and ideas could also help us to sense more than we can at present, and maybe this will lead to us unlocking the truth of our reality, virtual or otherwise. If you try hard enough, you can imagine every question being answered. But all of this is mere speculation and conjecture. The truth is, we will never know if there are questions which cannot be answered because we don't know what the future holds. We don't know what we are capable of, and we have no clue as to how long mankind will exist for. Some questions may be too complex for our minds to comprehend in the time we have left. There may even be new questions we've never asked about the human race which are even more fascinating, but that we're not capable of posing. Perhaps a more pertinent question is this: what do we know when we know of something we cannot know? When there are gaps in our knowledge that cannot be filled, how do we react? If we accept this situation, we may simply stop trying to learn. So, should we change the question or try to answer it in a different way? When science can't immediately answer something, many choose to fill this void with spiritual ideas. Is this because we are impatient for knowledge, or should we open our minds to consider a new way of learning? Perhaps it's a little of both, because by using a new way of thinking, many questions once deemed unanswerable have now been answered. And we're going to explore some of these in our bonus video, The Answers to Unanswerable Questions, which you can watch on our Patreon page at patreon.com/strangemysteries. For a $2 a month pledge, which you can cancel at any time, you'll get to watch this and all of our bonus content, which goes deeper and darker into every topic than YouTube allows. If you don't want to donate, then that's
bullshit. We know you wanted more. Strange Mysteries on YouTube and our Patreon bonus videos weren't enough to quench your search for truth, to give you that sense of awe and wonder again, to go past what you thought was the end, to give you the answers you seek, but which only lead to more questions. That's why we just upped the stakes. Chemicals of reality. Reality, consciousness, brains. What else is there? Ask yourself that question. Perhaps that's all there really is, but perhaps everything else is found within a place where these ideas, these things, overlap. Some thing, some place that is undefinable. To many people, altering certain chemicals in their brains produces what they would simply call hallucinations. In fact, what we're going to discuss specifically used to be called the businessman's trip, as one could enjoy it. Come down and put your pants back on in the time it takes to eat lunch. It wasn't taken seriously, well, unless of course you started digging. And some people, including us, did. Already though, to many people, this chemical is special amongst others. Very special. To them it represents something more meaningful and incredible, as if it's the gateway to the next level of consciousness. The ticket to a higher reality barely explored by most humans. It is the entry point to a new reality, visited by only a select few, whose minds have become enlightened through the use of this exotic substance. For this reason, it's commonly referred to as the spirit molecule. But is its reputation as a mystical mind-opener deserved? Or is it, and everything it represents, just a load of bullshit? We look at, investigate, and dive deeply into nearly all available research regarding this question from nearly every angle feasible. And in the course of doing so, stumble upon unexplainable patterns, correlations, and neurological evidence for a reality existing beyond this one. Watch this hour-long Strange Mysteries premium video, Chemicals of Reality, as well as many more to come by becoming an elite premium member of our Patreon at patreon.com/strangemysteries.